If you want my personal workout and diet plan, use the links below. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about should guys stay at home for longer with parents or should they move out? It's a question that's asked a lot in the Q&A that I put out, and I will do that soon, but I had to answer this because people have been asking this for months and I haven't answered the question, so I've got a good take on this. I moved out at like 22, I went to Toronto, then London. I've moved back to my hometown where I grew up now because my dad had cancer. I took care of him. I wanted to be his carer, and it was in COVID, so it just made sense to be back. And I'm moving to a new place, a penthouse, on February 1st. So, you know, I've got a vast experience of this at 29, like 7 years of living on my own, paying my own bills. So I would say, here's my plan, okay, guys? And this is the example that I would use. I used to work with two different people. One was my age, one was like 18 at the time. And I wasn't earning enough from that first ever job. I wasn't earning a lot. And they'd say to me, what the fuck do you do with your money every month? Like, where does it go? Like, it's crazy. How have you got none left? Like, end of the month, I'd be like, I'm skint. I need... And they'd be like, you spend your money like it's going out of fashion. What's the matter with you? And I was like, no, I don't spend on anything. It's just I've got house bills. Like, I've got council tax, utilities, I've got travel costs, I've got the gym membership that I pay for and stuff like that. I've got my rent, you know, £704 each, me and my ex-girlfriend. I was like, you don't have any of those bills, okay? Like, I buy food, your parents buy your food for you and stock the cupboards. Like, it won't be until you move out where you understand the value of your parents buying things like that for you, or your bills not being so high. You don't have an appreciation. And that's the thing, is they would be out every weekend. They would be buying new clothes to work, and, you know, they'd go out for lunch instead of making a packed lunch for the day because they didn't appreciate the money. They'd have cars on finance that were like £500 a month. And I used to be like, you guys, when you move out and you live on your own, you're going to have a massive shock. And they didn't quite understand it. And at that point, I'd been living on my own for like 3.5 years or like 4 years. So I had a real good understanding at that point of like how lucky they were. And they didn't quite understand it. And this is why I personally think every guy, when young, 18 if possible, obviously you're going to go to uni, but it's not the same. Okay, so uni doesn't count, guys, because your parents are paying for a lot of that shit. And the other thing that doesn't count is traveling. Like, people go to Thailand for like 2 weeks and they're like, oh my God, it's amazing here. We should move here. It's like, until you work in a place, you don't understand what the area is like, okay? You don't know somewhere's good until you work there for like a year and you've lived there properly. A holiday is a holiday. It's different. So don't ever judge a place on a holiday. So people move out to like Thailand. Oh, we'll get jobs here. And then they end up working in like a fish farm, stinking of tuna for like fucking 12 months running. It's just not fun for minimum wage. And they can't, like, all the drugs that they were doing on the beach, can't afford them anymore. So what's going on now? You know, all the nights out, can't afford them anymore. Like, people do that with London. They go on a night out in London. They're like, I love it here. I'm going to move. And then they've got like £100 a month to spare because it's so expensive. People don't understand what these bills actually are. Like, they add up. Like, the government have got us by the short and curlies. They're just making shit up. Like, TV license. Oh, council tax, even though we don't fill potholes or, you know, do anything for you. They just throw shit in there for no reason. And I think that's why every guy should move out. You know, maybe once you finish uni, once you've done something else, once you've finished school, whatever it might be, move out. Just do a year. Do a year, get a job, do a year on your own and just pay your bills, okay? And then that will allow you to build up an appreciation of like what your parents did for you and how saving money and keeping your bills low is so effective. You know, the power of each fucking pound, dollar, euro, whatever it might be. You'll build up that appreciation because when you've got council tax, like I said, utilities to pay, you've got travel costs, you get home on a late Thursday night, you've been working all day, you're tired, you're hungry, you get home, you look in the fridge, cupboard, whatever, and you go, shit, I've got to go shopping. And you're tired, you're almost ill, it's winter, you've got like a little bit of a cold kicking in, you've now got to walk to the shop because you don't have your luxury car because you can't afford that because your parents aren't paying the rent. So you walk down the shop in the cold, I've been there, guys, and you go and get what you've got with what you go and get what you can with what you got left. It might be £30, £40. So you go and get like, you just go and get like a loaf of bread, you know, bit of butter, some ham slices, just something shit. And you're eating that and you're like, God, I'm so tired all the time. Like, this is shit. You will then build up an appreciation. And then you'll get, bang, rent payment. You're like, already? What the fuck? Like, I've only just been paid. Like, you get paid like $2,000 and like 1,400 in bills go out the door. And then you've got to pay for food and travel and your gym. And you're like, I've got £100 left to go out this month. Yeah, we'll fucking stay in, start working hard. So like, put that money towards something else. Like, you build up that understanding. So I think once you've done a year, I think then you should move back in with parents. Because then once you're in with parents, you'll be like, I appreciate now what you guys do. I'm going to save as much money as possible, and I'm going to do this right the next time. And you're probably going to work harder at your 9-to-5 job or your business, your investments, whatever it might be. You're going to be like, fuck, I really want to make this work now. Like, I've got this great opportunity. I'm going to make it happen. And I feel like that's what more guys should do. Okay, they should, take a year on their own, figure out the game, and then they should move back in with parents. And then when they feel ready, because now you've got to judge on financial figures, and you'll be like, okay, I need to be earning this much before I move out again. Like, people are always keen. We'll move out. We'll be getting pussy every night. We'll be getting beers in. No, you won't. You won't have enough money, and the pussy won't want you, okay? Because you're likely going to be in a shit flat with no money, and you're going to go from a high school life to an adult life. And a guy with no money in high school is kind of cool. A guy with no money in adult life just sucks, okay? And you're going to, because you've got no money, you're going to not be eating properly. You're going to look worse. You're probably going to have to cut your gym membership and stuff like that. You're going to be walking everywhere. You're going to get skinny unless you're tracking calories. It's just tough, guys. Like, you can't afford the skincare products that you used to be able to afford. Like, living on your own will fuck you up. All right, and then people are like, we'll have a dog, and no, you won't be able to afford all that shit. It's quite fun, actually. It's quite fun to go through all that and get slapped in the face and be like, life's rough. Life is tough, man. Like, it's not as easy as I thought it was. So then when you move back in with parents, guys, if they let you, obviously they might not want you back at that point. But I think then you'll appreciate it. Or even if you don't get to move back in, every pay rise, you're going to be like, wow, look what that's going to do for my life. Instead of putting that extra £300 per month on alcohol, I'm going to invest that. Because I never want to be back where I was before. Like, that's the understanding that a lot of you young guys need. And I had that. I gained that in Toronto. I was walking everywhere. I must have lost like fucking 2 stone from just walking around, which is a fair few kilograms, guys. I was just walking everywhere. I had no money. I was like trying to grind up. And then I finally made it all happen. I finally made it all work, and I like turned my life around. But then in London with really high bills, like, I've been in a shitty situation where you're like paying loads of shit off and whatever. It's not nice, guys, okay? It's just not nice. When you like dip into that overdraft and you've got to fight your way back out and you're trying to push things forward and you just feel stuck. Build up that appreciation, okay? So go and live on your own as early as you can for like 1 year. Realize how fucking horrible and shitty it is, and it's not what it's all cracked up to be. And then when you do move back home, let's say you do 2-3 years, you only end up being like 23, 24 by the time you want to move again. You're going to have like 20, 30 grand in the bank the next time. So when you move, and you're going to be earning more. So when you move out a second time, it's going to be a lot easier, but you've got an appreciation for that coin. Makes a world of difference, okay, guys? Like I always say, you can't live in London unless you earn like 8,000 to 10,000 per month. I've got that from experience because I lived there. I was making, would it be like 4,000, 5,000 per month? Struggled. It was still an absolute nightmare, okay? It was still a shit show because by the time you get taxed and all the bills come out, you're like, if I have one night out, like I'm touching the bottom of the bank account here. If you have to, and bear in mind, I was pushing 1STMAN forward at the time as well. So buying cameras and equipment, trying to do projects and stuff like that, pay for business costs and whatever. You just can't do it all at once. So if you ever want to push your life forward, you kind of need to make that sacrifice where you either you live in a shithole and you have low bills, you stay in and you give up weekends and you work hard, you stay with parents for an extra 2 or 3 years. There are options, but the one thing I will say about moving out and living on your own is it forces you to become better. So instead of being like on a Sunday morning, you wake up, you lie in bed, you watch Netflix, you're just with the girlfriend and you're just like, mum's cooking the Sunday roast. You Americans might not understand that. But you're just like, you get lazy, you watch Netflix, whatever, you lie in bed all day, you don't even shower. You realize once you live on your own, you're like, I can't do this. And you force yourself to go and do extra things. You might force yourself to get a second job. You might force yourself to earn more money, to push your business forward, to take more risks or whatever it might be. Or ask the boss at work, can I get a pay rise? Like, what do I need to do to climb up this ladder? I need to go and do these qualifications. Like, it does force you to become a man. But I just feel as though that is unnecessary. I feel as though you can do a year, learn what the shit is, and then just make your life easier because you've got that understanding then. You could be back in with parents. You could save, like, for 2-3 years and not worry too much. Obviously, it will hurt a bit because you'll be like, I liked my independence, but 2-3 years, you're still going to be super young, 23, 24 years old, then move out with a huge chunk of like 30k in the bank, keep your rent low again, and then appreciate the value of life, okay? Appreciate the value of having £100 at the end of the month spare, £200 at the end of the month spare. Like, you'll appreciate that because you're not saying, oh, fuck, I need 50 quid for food. Like, more people need to live like that and understand that actually this is really difficult. But their parents are always bailing them out. They'll live on their own and their parents will send them like £1,000 a month. It's what you see at uni a lot. That's why I think a lot of people who go to uni are quite lazy. They've never really had to struggle. Like, uni life is easy. I think you're getting drunk all the time. Like, if you can't pass a course in fucking 3 years, you got something wrong with you. Parents are paying for everything. You get given a loan. Like, the whole world is supporting you and being like, get your education. So I don't think, that is necessarily good for people either. I think that makes you quite sloppy in that sense. I think the best route to the top is go out, get a job, live on your own, build up that appreciation for money, and then you can start using it in a better way, okay, guys? If you want my personal workout and diet plan, use the links below.